Hello, Melanin Monarchy citizens. This is Monique here with another concert review. And this time we will be reviewing the Reunion 2023 tour with David and Tamela Mann, Israel Houghton, Kirk Franklin, and Tribbett. So let's get into this concert review. Let's go. You guys, I so enjoyed and was so looking forward to this Reunion 2023 tour starring Tribbett, Kirk Franklin, Israel Houghton, and David and Tamela Mann. The only thing that was missing from this particular show here in San Diego were the Clark sisters. And I'm telling you, I was brokenhearted. I was disappointed that the Clark sisters were not here. You know, you guys, they are like gospel royalty. I'm from Detroit. They're from Detroit. I associate them with my auntie. She was a huge, I mean, she loved the Clark sisters. Matter of fact, when I was a little girl, the first time I heard He Brought the Sunshine was in her house, was in my auntie Sandra's house. So I was so looking forward to seeing them. I don't know why they weren't at the San Diego show. If you guys find out why they were, definitely put it in the comments, hit me up, message me, let me know. I tried to find it, couldn't find it. I'm pretty sure that they had a really good reason for not being here in San Diego for this particular show, because I don't want to think that they stood a sister up, right? Because I was so looking forward to them, but they were not here for this particular show. However, Kirk Franklin, Israel Houghton, Tribbett, and David, and this is your granddaddy, David and Tamela Mann were at this show, and it was wonderful. You guys, you know, it is very difficult to get this type of talent, right? This type of gospel talent on one stage for one night and keep it as cohesive and short as they did. And they were on stage for almost 3 hours, and they tried to give us everything that we were looking for in all the music. And you know what? It's a huge body of work. It's over 30 years, maybe even 40 years of music there. And so they brought all of it. And I really appreciate them during this tour. What was different about this particular, I've seen Kirk Franklin before, I've seen Tamela Mann before. Tamela, I saw her earlier, I believe it was this year or late last year. She was with the Is Time tour that was with Naomi Raines, Taya, Natalie Grant. I saw her earlier. So doing it again, having this type without a huge production and a huge crowd, sometimes that can be a little bit difficult, but they did, and I completely enjoyed it. What was different about this was that they kept it where everybody wasn't playing musician. They weren't playing musical instruments. My apologies, musical instruments. I'm used to seeing Kirk Franklin on the keyboard. He's playing. He didn't do that. I think he got on the keyboard maybe once. Tribbett, he got on it like once. Israel Houghton did have his guitar like slung around him for the majority of the night. He plays kind of like a security blanket. That's what it looked like. But it was great. So I get that, you know, they have their band, they have their 6-member band. They also have backup singers. I believe it was 6 members, 4 females, 2 men. And Isaac Caree was a part of their backup singers. He did not sing any of his material. I think in the middle of it, he didn't sing that. He was there completely as a support and a backup, and I truly appreciate it. Now, David and Tamela Mann, you guys, I was so impressed by them. They really held their own. They worked as a team. I love to see husband and wives team get together. They were a great support to one another, and they were a great support to the reunion tour itself, and I appreciate that. Tribbett came down from the audience. I saw the light go into the audience. I wasn't sure what exactly was going to happen, and when he came out, when it was time for him to come out, he came out through the audience, and you guys know how I love that. I love that connectivity. That connectivity is so very crucial and important when you're going to live shows, and at the end of the show, him and Kirk Franklin did that. Tribbett was on one side, Kirk Franklin was on another side. They were actually in the crowd, and they were performing while they were in the crowd. Now, I know you guys, like logistically and security reasons, that a lot of acts can't do it, and I also know that venues don't allow, some venues don't even allow the act to do that, but it is so very important to have that kind of connectivity. I know that Seal did it. When I saw Seal, he was really in the audience, really singing to the crowd. Sheila E. does it every time I go see Sheila E. She's very connected to the crowd, and she tries to go out and connect to the crowd. Fantasia does that as well. Even if you have if the act can't go out into the crowd, sometimes they will actually bring some of the audience members on stage. Like you have the OJs that are they're like the OGs of doing that. So they'll do that. Neo did it when I saw him last. He brought people up on the stage. So you have that type of connectivity, and you can't beat it. And the reason why you can't beat it is because when the audience is there and they're coming to see you, and even if they're not the ones that are up on stage, or they're not the ones that you're actually coming to and singing to because they're up in the rafters or there's someplace different and they're just not in that general area, it still brings something. They still connect to the audience member that actually is in front of you and that you're actually singing with or singing to, right? So you can't beat that connectivity. I am all for it. And the reunion tour, they did that. They understand how important that is, and I appreciate that. Another thing that was different about this particular tour that they did that I thought was really, really brilliant and really, really smart, because they only had the 6 backup singers. They didn't have the full-on choir, the full-on crowd, bunch of singers that they normally do, the choir. So what Kirk Franklin did, he taped a choir, and I believe it was the family, not God's Property. It probably was some of God's Property, but it was of the family, and they had videotaped them singing a couple of songs. So when they actually had the video playing and they had the track playing along, you didn't realize it. It didn't take away. You knew that you were watching a video, right? But it didn't take away from the concert. It didn't take away from the aesthetics of what they were trying to do. So I appreciate that. That was a very smart thing to do, was to bring that to the audience with, I would think, budget wise, the least amount of cost. Everybody can't be Kanye, who has 100 or 200 people traveling with you and flying them everywhere. So I appreciate them trying to give the audience as much as they could at this time. It was great. Again, David and Tamela Mann, they were singing, they were helping out. And you know what, guys? I also forgot that Israel Houghton has, AKA formerly of New Breed, right, has this huge body of work. I mean, I really, really did. And this is where we get into the rediscovery, right? You get into the rediscovery when you see people live. And I kind of forgot about his breadth of work. And that was so refreshing to revisit that. Now, what was the most amazing thing about this particular concert was that I had my babies with me. I had my 2 youngest with me, and they were there and they were worshiping and they were singing, because this is the music that they grew up on, right? They grew up on this music in church. They grew up with this music with me playing it in the car on the way to church or on the way to other places, me playing it on a Saturday when it's time to clean up, So they grew up with all of this music. So they were there, they were worshiping, they were singing the songs, and you just can't beat that, right? You can't beat seeing your children enjoy themselves and singing all of this work. So I appreciate that. I'm so glad that they went with me and that I got to see them have a great time and got to see them. What I would say is that it really was not, for me, it was not a worship experience. And the reason why it wasn't a worship experience, more of a concert than a worship experience, is because there was no Bible, right? There was no scriptures being read. Now, I know that the music that they play and that they sing, that they've written, is all Bible, right? It's all about the Bible. It's all about scriptures. But as far as speaking scriptures, I think Israel Houghton may have said something at some point in time, but you just didn't get that. You didn't get that kind of experience. I guess that makes me old school, and I'm used to that. Now, I can say this. You probably wasn't like that. It's because we're dealing with Black folks, right? So you guys who are familiar with the Black church, we would have been there all night if they would have had, the deacon service, the benediction, the altar call. Again, there was no altar call. They would have had the altar call. Then it was healing service. Then it was deliverance service. And then it would, then taking up the offering and then taking up another offering, all of that kind of stuff. They say, you know what? We can't do that right now. We really want to bring the people what they came here, and they came here to enjoy the music that we've written over these decades, and we want to bring them that. I'm pretty sure that they would have loved to have more of the Bible reading, the scriptures, the ministering portion when you have the Black church, where you have gospel music. They didn't have that, and I'm pretty sure it's because, again, we would have been there all night. We were already there for almost 3 hours. We probably were there for 3 hours. And when you get with Black people together and they're talking about the Lord and they're worshiping Jesus, it would have just been all night, And so I missed that. We didn't get that. I'm used to seeing that with Kirk Franklin, and but again, I appreciate it. I appreciate their anointing and what they bring. So it was great. Tribbett, he was all over the stage. He was wonderful. Now, Kirk Franklin didn't play, and I'm used to seeing him behind the piano, and he danced. He danced a lot, and I didn't realize that he was that great of a dancer. He's an amazing dancer. He's 50 something years old, and he was getting it like any of these young people. I appreciate that. I know a lot of people maybe who follow him know that he's also a dancer. And so, and I also believe that Kirk Franklin put out a video of his reconciliation with his son, with I believe it's his oldest son. I think a lot of people didn't get that. I did. I saw that, and I thought that that was a great testimony. That's another thing they didn't have. They didn't have testimony service. Well, there was a little bit. But anyway, again, black folks in the church, you know, we'll be talking about Jesus all day long, right? So I enjoy that. So again, if you can get to see the reunion tour, if they still have shows this year, or if they're going to be doing some kind of another type of that next year, definitely I would say this is one of the things to go see. But I say that about everybody, don't I? I always say everybody is worth going to see, because if it's your thing and they're coming live, I'm always for seeing them, right? Hopefully there is nothing that I've forgotten. I enjoyed all of it. Again, you know, David and Tamela, this is your granddaddy. Everybody knows what that's from. If you know David and Tamela Mann, then you know what that's from, okay? So again, this is a reunion tour. Wonderful body of work, wonderful gospel singing, wonderful gospel songs, lots of dancing, lots of energy, lots of connectivity, good just being smart with what they brought, with the taping of the videos, all of those things. I really appreciate, loved it. And there you have it. You have the reunion 2023 with David and Tamela Mann, Israel Houghton, formerly of New Breed, Kirk Franklin, and Ty Tribbett. Hopefully next time I will get to see the Clark sisters. I really, really would like to see that. Now, this is the time in the episode where we do our 7 degrees of Depeche Mode. You guys, this is where I connect the live artist with Depeche Mode in seven steps. Okay, so here we go. Now, you guys, Tamela and David Mann, husband and wife team, they've been in a lot of they're actors as well as singers, and we all know them from the Tyler Perry plays and movies, and they have their own TV show, and they do a great job. And I think that they still have things going on. I think they've done cooking. They've just evolved and just done a lot of things. Tamela Mann is in the new musical version of The Color Purple that is coming out, I believe, at the end of the year, beginning of next year. Now, here's my thing about that. You guys, don't you dare go see this new movie and not see the 1985 version of The Color Purple, okay? If you ain't seen the 1985 version of The Color Purple, don't you dare go see this new one. You got to go back. You got to go see that whole film before you see the new version of The Color Purple. But Tamela Mann is in the new Color Purple. And also in that film is legendary actor Louis Gossett Jr., right? Louis Gossett Jr. has been around for maybe 50, 60 years. His breadth of work is just amazing, right? And he's playing old Mr. in that. He's doing the role that Adolph Caesar did back in 1985. You know what's funny is that Adolph Caesar's rendition of Mr. in the 1985 Color Purple always remind me of my grandfather, my father's father. Huh? Interesting, just like him. Anyway, so Louis Gossett Jr. plays old Mr. in the new version of The Color Purple. Louis Gossett Jr. also played, and he's played in several things, right? But he also played in this TV show called Boardwalk. Now, if you guys are familiar with that TV show, or even if you're not familiar with that TV show, Boardwalk, the main actor in that TV show was Steve Buscemi. I am a Steve Buscemi fan. I like his work. I love his work. I think he's one of those actors that doesn't get a lot of shine, but he's an amazing actor. So Steve Buscemi is in Boardwalk. Not only is Steve Buscemi an actor, he's also a writer, he's a producer, and Steve Buscemi is a director. One of the films that Steve Buscemi has done back in 2002, right? He did a film called Baseball Wives. And in this film, Baseball Wives, it starred an unknown per se actress. And that unknown actress has the name of, that unknown actress is a Miss Carolee Kashke. And you devotees know that Carolee Kashke is also known as Mrs. Martin Al Gore from Depeche Mode. So there you have it. There's our 7 degrees of Depeche Mode. So you have Carolee Kashke, aka Carolee, Mrs. Martin L. Gore, Carolee Gore, right? Who played in Baseball Wives. Baseball Wives was directed by Steve Buscemi. Steve Buscemi also played and starred in Boardwalk, a TV show Boardwalk. Boardwalk had in one of their episodes, Louis Gossett Jr. Louis Gossett Jr. is going to be playing Old Mister in the new version of The Color Purple, right? And also in The Color Purple is going to be gospel great Tamela Mann, who was a part of this Reunion 23 tour. There you go. There you have it. That's the 7 degrees of Depeche Mode. You guys, thank you so much for coming along with me, for doing these reviews. Don't forget to like, subscribe, to share on Instagram, on YouTube, on Facebook. You can find Melanin Monarchy on all of those social media platforms, including LinkedIn. I should be coming to a TikTok near you pretty soon. But most of these reviews are going to be on my YouTube page, Melanin Monarchy. So don't forget to subscribe, because it lets me know that I'm still bringing value to you. And I will see you at the next concert review. I love you. Be blessed. Toodle pip.